Welcome to another tutorial for Adobe After Effects. I will be showing how to use the new 3D camera tracker in CS6. This will cover how to create your camera track, how to what the tracker is good for and what it is not good for, and how to integrate a 3D object into your footage using After Effects, and also how to use the RotoBrush tool to rotoscope your footage. So, just going to open up my clip here, and then we can bring it into After Effects like so. So now we have a clip to work with, and first thing we're going to do is just pre-compose. So we'll call this background plate, and we'll just rename our main comp as camera tracking. And so our current workspace is actually the motion tracking. We also have standard. But if we go into motion tracking, you'll see that we have a button here called Track Camera. So we'll do that, and it starts to track our footage. As you can see, it's going along here, and it'll just take a few minutes to do this. So now our footage has finished tracking, and we can now look through our clip to see what it looks like. And we can see that for the most part the tracks are sticking to different points. But there are a few things that we can do to just clean this up. And if you look here, there are some points sticking to places where it's not good for them to stick to. So we'll just select them and hit delete. Here's one on the man's arm. We can just get rid of that. Okay. Yeah, that seems to be moving. Delete, delete that. Get rid of that one there. And now I think this is not too bad. Even with quite a bit of blur, the tracker isn't having too much problem. But one of the problems that we run into is that there is no way in After Effects to increase or to set the number of tracker points. So we can delete these points, but we cannot add them. Alright, next thing, we'll take a look at these settings here. So our shot type is just this fixed angle of view. And that just means that it's a fixed focal length. Um, the angle of view or the zoom factor does not change. So that if we did have some zoom, we could change it to variable zoom. But generally, we'd like to stay away from that. Now, we can also specify the angle of view, which I think will be something like 39.5 or so. Wait for it to solve. Okay. So we also have this 2D source and 3D solved, which the 3D solved points are just different sized. The size of the tracking points changes according to the distance of the points to the camera. So the closer point is to the camera, the larger it will appear. These are closer than these, so you can see that they're quite a bit bigger. Set them to 2D source, looks like that. And these would just be how it would be before they get solved into a 3D camera, basically. We can also select this render track points, and that will allow us to have these points always show. So even if we deselect our comp, we can still see the points. We can even render our points out if we want to show what was tracked in the scene. We can deselect that for now. And then this track point size, I can just make our track points larger or smaller. Or we select some of these, get this target, and we can set the target size to be larger or smaller. Okay, so next thing is to create our camera. So we can grab some points.
Hi there. Oh man, guys.
These points here look pretty good, but let's try this. Okay, those still aren't quite on the right plane. Nope, that isn't doing it. So this basically just takes the positions of however many points and tries to create a plane between all those points. And usually isn't this difficult. Okay, that looks like a good plane there. So we'll create our camera and then create shadow catcher and light. And sometimes this takes a bit, but that was actually pretty fast. So now if we go into the top view here, and then we have our light, text, and the camera. So we can see our camera moving along and the orientation changing like that. Back to the camera. Yeah, you can notice it's going slower now. Which the more you do with this, the slower it goes. Okay, so we have our camera all set up, everything in place. One thing we still need to do is set up some text. So actually we need to go back to those points. Yeah, those should be the same ones. Then we already have our camera. I'm not sure why it's wanting me to create another one, but we can do that and then just delete the other camera. Okay, so there's our text, and we can now begin to set that up and integrate it into our scene.